After reviewing Flashforge's AD5X Printer, they asked me to also review the enclosure they sell for the machine. In the box, you get the assembly instructions, a bunch of different hardware, and all the acrylic panels for the enclosure. The frame of the kit you print yourself. On the enclosure page on the Flashforge website, you'll find a link to a wiki. On the wiki there's an install guide, which is the same information as the manual that comes with the kit. There's also a parts list showing you all the parts needed for the build, and then there's the STL files to download. At the time of filming this, there was two other enclosure options besides the default one. One has a volcano theme and the other one looks like a Alice in Wonderland. Both look pretty cool, but it would be a huge amount of material to do that in a multicolor print, so if you want to pick one of those, keep that in mind. Here's what the files look like when you download them. It already comes on multiple plates, although I moved some of these things around. I front-loaded all of the pieces onto the front two plates, so they come in more distributed. Also, the last plate with the name badge is something that I created. One of the pieces already had the name recessed into it, but I wanted to do it in a different color, so I brought it into Fusion and cut that piece out and made the nameplate that could be recessed in. Flashforge also sent me some of their high-speed PLA to print with, so that's what I'll be using. The print itself will take a little over one roll of filament to print all the parts. So let's get the machine loaded up and start printing. If you like the projects I tackle on my channel, I'm working on a digital guide that breaks down how I approach problem solving and build step by step. It's early days, but if this sounds like something that would interest you, there's a waitlist link in the description below. You can sign up and get updates and early access when I release it. Everything printed very clean, with only a few parts needing supports. All the parts also have labels printed onto them, so you can match them up with the instructions during assembly. The assembly is pretty straightforward. I'm not going to go through it in detail, that's what the instructions or the assembly video Flashforge made is for, but I'll give you the broad strokes so you know what to expect. The first step is to attach the door hinges to the two printed beams on the left side of the printer. That's done with 4 nuts and bolts that are supplied in the kit. The next step is to attach all the lower beams to the printer. These are made up of 2 pieces for each corner. There's some slight differences between how the front and rear beams attach, but the basics are that there's a few screws that you take off the printer, you place the prints on the machine, and then you put the screws back in. After that, all the additional screws are added from the kit. On each corner though, the top piece gets attached first and then the bottom piece gets attached after. When you get around to the side with the spool holders, the parts attach the same, except first you have to take the cleats off that hold the spool holders, and then once you've attached the prints to the machine, you reattach the cleats, but with longer screws that are supplied in the kit. Once all 4 corners are in place, the beam that goes across the front of the machine that holds the monitor gets attached next. But first you need to glue in 2 magnets that come in the kit. This helps hold the panel up against the machine. Once the magnets are glued into place, you slide the ribbon cable through the print, and then the piece attaches to the 2 side rails with tongues at the end that fit into grooves in the side rails. And finally, the screen slides into place on the print the same way it did on the original printer. Now the 2 side panels can be installed. but first the multi-filament system and its mount needs to be removed. Then the plastic film can be removed from the panels and they can be slid down the grooves on the corner pieces. Next the door gets mounted, but first the handle has to have some magnets glued in also. Then the handle gets screwed onto the door and the door screwed onto the hinges. I loosely attach the door to the hinges first and then close it and make sure it's aligned properly, and then tighten the screws down all the way. The top assembly is pretty simple. The 4 corners get screwed down into the lower pillars, then the 4 panels slide into place. The panel with the hole is the one that goes on the right side where the filament tubes are. The top ring is made up of the 4 L pieces, and they connect together using dovetail joints that just slide together. Once assembled, it sits on top of the 4 upper pillars and gets screwed down to be held in place. The top lid just gets its handle attached, and then it rests on top of the ring. The multi-filament mount now gets reattached with longer screws in the kit, and the accent ring snaps into the hole of the panel above it to protect the PTFE tubes from the sharp edges of the panel. Then the multi-material unit gets clipped back into place, except there's a bit of an issue. To get the unit back on the outside, we need to remove the tubes from the printhead. This is done by first removing the front panel of the printhead. Then there's a small clip that needs to be removed that keeps the locking mechanism engaged. After that, there's the small screw in the top that needs to be removed, and then you just push down on the locking mechanism and the tube will pull right out. Once removed, you can reattach the multi-material system on the outside and then run the tubes through the hole and reattach the tubes to the printhead in the reverse order of how you took it apart. With everything assembled, it's time to do some test prints. Now, the main reason you want an enclosure, besides keeping the printer quieter, is so you can print materials like ABS or ASA, which required an enclosed space to keep the temperature consistent while printing. First, I'll try some ABS, and since it's December when I'm recording this, I'll try a Christmas decoration I found online. The print completed with no issue, and being a flexible print, there's more delicate parts that had a higher chance of failing than a normal print, so this worked pretty well. Next I'll try some ASA, and for this I'm going to try a print-in-place fidget toy. Also in ASA, I printed this print-in-place fidget clicker, and it didn't have any issues either. ABS and ASA is great for these type of fidget toys, as they're much more resilient and durable than PLA. And of course, you can still print PLA. The enclosure doesn't really affect the printing process, but it does make the printer a lot quieter. I really like this enclosure. It opens up a lot more printing options for an already great printer, and it's not that expensive. If you wanted, you could just download the print files for free and source your own panels and hardware, but unless you wanted to do something really custom, it's not really worth it. I don't think you could buy the acrylic panels any cheaper, and then you'd have to go through the process of cutting out all the shapes. Making the printer quieter is already a big bonus, but being able to print out of ABS and ASA gives you so many more options for functional prints. Also, printing toys like I showed hold up way better in ABS or ASA than PLA, and there's a reason LEGO makes all their bricks out of ABS. Let me know in the comments what you think of the enclosure, or if you have any questions. As I mentioned earlier, if the creative problem solving guide I'm putting together sounds interesting, join the waitlist with the link in the description. And if you want to support the channel and get occasional behind the scene peeks and chat about projects, check out my Patreon. Thanks for watching.